There we go. Perfect. All right. Just want to make sure we're good. All right, everybody. My name is Trent Lacey, and I am one of the volunteers that is working with Darcy. Can you guys hear me? All right. So I'm going to mute everybody here. And yeah, okay, I've gone ahead and muted everybody. So basically we're going to start doing these once a week. We're kind of going to trial out Wednesday and see how this works. And if it seems to flow very well, we'll continue on this path every Wednesday. If not, we're going to look at a different day next week. And so basically the format of this is going to be is mainly directed for the SEC members that are going to be voting in March, end of March for the new chair. But we're also pushing it out to those who are not SEC members that want to just listen to what her vision is for the party and where we want to go where she wants to take this party the next 2 years. So I'm going to go ahead and give the floor over to Darcy. And if you just kind of want to tell everybody who you are and what your goals and plans are for the party and where you want to take this. And if you guys just want to raise your hands, and I will, once we get to that point on your computer, then I can unmute you and you can ask your questions to Darcy. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Trent. And thank you for those of you who are here tonight. As Trent said, we're just going to kind of pilot this tonight and see how it goes. But my name is Darcy Schoening. I'm running for chair of the Colorado GOP. And I think that it's really important to do these town halls because that's actually part of my platform is to do the weekly town halls so that you all know what's going on. All of that to say, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, but this isn't going to be super formal, especially with it being, such a small group on the first night. I just kind of want to introduce myself and then let you guys ask some questions and kind of direct how this meeting goes. But I am currently the director of special initiatives. Let me just check these texts real quick because it looks like people are still getting this message that they can't get in. That's okay. Glance says she can't get in. That's fine. All right. So, that's fine. All right. So, anyways, I'm currently the director of special initiatives for the Colorado GOP. And what that means is I create local initiatives for conservative school boards, city councils, county commissions. I've always believed that just because the legislature and Jared Polis are terrible, that doesn't mean that the rest of Coloradoans have to suffer. Boulder and Denver, by and large, dictate how we live in Colorado, but it doesn't have to be that way. We can opt out of all kinds of unconstitutional laws. We can create Stephen Brown's on the waiting room. We can create policies that protect families from oppressive laws from the legislature. And that's what I've been working on for the last several years. I've opted out all kinds of school boards and localities from gun laws, from oppressive mental health assessments in public schools for your children. One of my accomplishments I'm most proud of is leading the historic endorsement of President Trump last year by the Colorado GOP. I literally was sitting at my desk one day and I saw that Ohio did it, and I was like, we could do this here. And so I set off on a mission to do it. And with the help of some volunteers, the Colorado GOP endorsed President Trump by a 2/3 margin. And that was just awesome. I have been leading the Capital Club every couple months. I've been leading that for a year. And I have been working with donors to build what we're calling the Bob Initiative, Build Our Benches. We have raised over $150,000 for the school board races in 2025. And we're going to flip more seats. Our kids are our most important asset. They deserve to be protected, and I will fight for them every single day. That's one of the biggest tenets of my platform. The other huge part of my platform is getting our data and our infrastructure right so that our elections can be successful. We can get more Republicans elected. and build more donor confidence. That's what I've been working on. So I don't want to keep blabbing and blabbing. I mean, I could go on forever about all the various things I'm doing around Colorado, but I will go ahead and answer questions and just kind of let you guys talk for a while. And so if there's anybody on this call that you're listening and you're thinking like, well, here's what's really important to me, and I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet, feel free to bring it up. Or if you have questions about anything I've done, now would be the time to ask that. Sweet, no questions. So everybody's 100% sold on my platform then?
It sounds like it.
Awesome.
This is Shauna. I'm trying to think of a question.
It's
But
okay.
here's one that comes to mind. And my first answer is no, I don't think I've ever heard you do this. So I want to know, have you ever publicly spoken against like a Republican in a primary?
No, I haven't.
That's what I thought. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
And my
I,
next question is kind of more of a comment, but so I loved what you did with Moms for Liberty. And I know you get stuff done and you can take something and run with it. And what would be like your plan for doing that with the state GOP?
Sure. So let's talk about, and thank you for that, Shauna. I appreciate that. Moms for Liberty has been an integral part of my life and really my political career because, as I said, standing for the children is the most important thing that we could possibly do. We have to raise future generations to love our country and to want to be part of families and communities. So, let's talk about, first 30 days, first 90 days. So let's say I'm elected tomorrow. My first goal would be to get in there, like I said, and really start building that infrastructure. And I've done that already. I started building the candidate initiative back in the races in 2024. I'm kind of modeling that into the school board races, but expanding on it, especially since there's large donor commitments for that. So really, just like I said, building an infrastructure, continuing to build donor confidence over the first 30 to 90 days. And then once we win those school board elections, once we really demonstrate to the state what that looks like, then, like I said, we build donor confidence. And then going into 2026, we have a robust candidate initiative. As a matter of fact, my team is about to release an initiative to recruit candidates early, to aggressively recruit candidates early for the 2025 school board and for the 2026 election. So really, I mean, it's no different than a company. I worked for an ambulance company a decade ago, and my boss was like, "You're the manager, but I don't really know how to do this. So here's a desk and here's a phone. Figure it out." And my entire life, I've loved to do that. I'm a problem solver and I'm a doer. That's what our party needs is doers. And I think all of you on this call and people across the state know that I just get in there and I do it. And that's what we're going to do here. And with your help, we're going to do more than ever before. And we're going to take our state back. So thank you for that.
Awesome. All right, Steve's up next.
Thank you, Trent. Appreciate it. So, I've been reading about this Bob initiative, the Build Our Bench initiative, and I'm a data guy. I know folks, might tend to go different parts of the spectrum of the conservative movement, but I'm more focused on organizational management and success of the organization. Because at the end of the day, that's what it means to be a Big Ten party, right? We're going to have different ideas and stuff, but are we set up for success? And so the fact that Darcy, that you've highlighted more than $150,000 of donor pledges, I understand that like the state party's annual budget runs anywhere between 250 and 400,000. So that's to me kind of an impressive haul. Can you explain a little bit about how those funds would eventually get distributed to targeted races and how that determination may or may not be made? Appreciate it.
Sure. So I consider myself blessed that over the course of my work over the last 5 years, I've developed some really good relationships with donors, and they know that if I say that I'm going to do something, then I'm going to do it. And so that's what brought us to the Bob Initiative and starting to really just build those funds and build our benches of people. So, um, I would say that we've got to continue to put money into that account. Like you said, $150,000 is significant, right? But we need way more than that. I mean, the Democrats are raising hundreds of thousands, millions. They're really targeting localities. So we've got to display to our donors like why it's so important that they continue to give, but also show them what they're getting for their investment, which is that we're winning races. We are turning school boards conservative. Their kids are protected. And so with this initiative, I would parse this out just like you would with state races or congressional races down into tiers. You would look at which races you can flip, which races are vulnerable, and then funds and resources are dispersed out according to critical level. So basically, you triage out which races need the most time and the most money. Now, all of that to say that even if there's a race that we can't win, I don't care if it's in Denver or I don't care if it's a safe seat that, the Democrats are never going to take. We always want to offer that infrastructure to the candidates, even if we're not giving them checks. Let's offer them data. Let's offer them support, strategy, point them in the right direction to make them successful because running for office, it shouldn't be painful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry to blab on. That was a long answer.
And just to clarify on that initiative, Darcy, it's not that the state party is going to take the lead on school board races since they are nonpartisan, even though they're really not because the Democrats make them partisan with the teachers union. It's
Right.
just we want to help go into communities and find good candidates, right? Use
Right.
that money to train them and get them, you know, help encourage them, help provide funding, help lead them in a direction where they can win.
Right. I mean, we just want to provide whatever resources that they're willing to take in, however much support they want, we'll meet them where they are. Some candidates I had candidates in this last cycle that wanted to text all day. They wanted to call every day and just kind of vent and tell me what was going on. And then I had other candidates that I just never hear from. And so ultimately it's up to the candidate. I mean, they're the elected official, they're running campaigns the way that they want, but we want to provide them as much support as possible.
Perfect. Hopefully there's more questions. Adam's got to have a question. Come on, Dorito.
Hello?
Hey,
Sorry, God damn it.
Hello?
All right. Hey, Priscilla, how you doing?
Hey, good. I have a quick question. Hi, Darcy.
hey.
So when I was at party, I worked really hard on community outreach, right? We went into different immigrant communities and just really tried to reach um, communities that the Democrats typically go into, right? Like the Black community and the Hispanic community. And it does take time and investment. And after I left, I didn't see that work continue. Can you share, like, is that something that you see as important? And if so, like, would you commit to putting some resources behind outreach into communities that we can go and get some votes, because we know like Trump did that, right? He went and he won by +7 in the Black community and +13 in the Hispanic community. And I feel like that's an opportunity that we continue to miss. Can you talk a
Oh,
little bit about that?
absolutely, without question. I serve on the board of Colorado Hispanic Republicans. As a Hispanic conservative, I definitely understand the sentiment that there's not a lot of outreach. I don't see it. I don't think it's because people don't want to do it. And I don't think it's because, people don't want to reach out to the Black and Hispanic. I think it's because they don't know how, they don't know where. So I would 100%, this would be something that we definitely need to be putting resources into. And that's part of, the critical races initiative and the candidate initiatives and school board races. I mean, those communities are integral to winning and to succeeding. So thank you. And I would love to work with you on that, by the way, but you know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So now my phone works perfect. I figured it out. Okay. Okay. So there's been a lot of division in the party over the last few months, and there's a lot of things going on the internet. What are you going to be able to do different than what has been done in the past in order to bring all the Republicans back together to start working together versus being so divided? I think that's going to be a real critical issue for the election this month or next month.
So two things. I'm going to treat, one thing, but I'll explain it. I'm going to treat the Colorado GOP the way that I would treat any organization that I've spearheaded or any company that I've owned. There are always going to be moving parts and personalities, right? We're never going to agree on everything. But everybody has to go to work and contribute their skills to advancing the organization. We don't have to always get along, but it takes two things. It takes a leader, it takes a solid, focused leadership team to set goals and to set an outline for the organization, for the staff, for the workers, for the members. If we are all working and all the wheels are turning in the same direction and we're all fighting the Democrats and we're all doing the things we need to do, there's less time to fight. Now, people are still going to fight, right? Every job you've ever had, there were people that didn't get along. And it's on leadership, it's on county leadership and state leadership to say, look, we got to cut this out. I mean, I have said recently, there's been multiple times where I said, hey, you and you, we're going to get on a call and you guys are going to cut this shit out. All right. Like, we can disagree, but you can't call her this and you can't say this to him. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to triage these issues and to put two people in a room. I mean, sometimes we need that. There's a lot of personalities. So ultimately, it's on me as a leader to make sure that everyone is working together. And I plan to do exactly that. So thank you. Any other?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think the key to unity, because there's people within the party that have just ruined the word unity, and it really doesn't mean, because a lot of people can't define it, right? And so to me, when I think of unity, Darcy, I think of just finding common goals or common things that we can all agree on. For example, we can agree that our children are off limits, right? So it doesn't matter if you are more of a establishment type candidate or an America First type candidate or where your political beliefs lie within the Republican Party. If we all can agree that our children are off limits, then to me, let's work on that. That's unity right there.
And our kids are off limits. That's why I say that is such a big part of my platform. It's such a big part of my time every week. Our kids they're off limits. They're innocent and they are future generations. So if we don't stand for our kids as a party, I don't know what we're standing for. I mean, we may as well not have a party if we can't all come together on that. So to me, that's one of the biggest issues we need to come together on.
I think the other part to that too is in order for us to even try to unify, and this kind of maybe goes to Adam's question, is in order for us to unify, you're going to have to take personality out of this thing, right? I mean, there's so much hatred right now for certain individuals within the Republican Party. And if you are absolutely not willing to set that hatred aside and maybe agree with that person on one or two issues, you'll never unify, never
Right.
unify.
Right. And we have to take people out of it, right? Like
Yes.
you can't continuously say, oh, this elected official is just great. Everything she does is great for the that's not always the case. It's okay to criticize our Republican elected officials in a constructive way. And it's also great to prop them up and tell them when we're when they're doing great. But we have to stop being so people centric. We're a party. We're based on values, and our values are based on long-standing tradition of family, of Christ, of community. And those are the things that matter, not people, not him, not, state rep so and so. That's what we have to get away from.
Well, yeah, I mean, just to point out an example yesterday where I agreed with a guy I normally don't like, and I don't like him, but he made a very factual point, and I agreed with him. And then all of a sudden, man, my phone blows up with, "How dare do you agree with him?" And it's like, right there, because I agree with the point he made, I'm supposed to be loyal to the side that doesn't like this individual. So,
Right.
um, you know, we just need to learn to we just need to put the personality issue out of it, and we'll work on moving the party forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. Every single member of the party brings something, and that's what we have to identify. As leaders, we have to look at the people who come to us and they want to be a part of our party. We have to look at them and figure out, where are they? What values do they bring? Or what skills do they bring? And how can we help them become even stronger Republicans? How can we help them become even more involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? I know Steve Brown has to have a question.
No, I'm just listening. Thank you, Turin.
Hey, you're in Alaska today, huh? On Alaska Airlines, it looks like.
Yeah, you can just change that at will. You know how that goes.
Well, I will say one issue that's passionate to people, Darcy, and I'd like for you to talk about that, is transparency around financials. And what is your goal to be transparent when it comes to financials so that people can jump on the website and see where is the Colorado GOP at without going to the FEC and try to look at that discombobulated data, because a lot of people don't understand how to decipher that. So what is your vision for the transparency and financials with the GOP?
Sure. So as you said, the FEC website is confusing. Tracer's confusing. I mean, an organization like the GOP can have a million bank accounts, and I do credit Tom Bjorklund. He has worked really hard to be transparent and to undo some of the damage from before. But moving forward, what I would like to see, what I want to do, is monthly calls. So we have the weekly town halls, but then we also have huge monthly calls where we also go over our budget, the budget or the actuals, the everything for the prior month and the next month, basically just like a city council or a school board. That's when we talk about boards, when we talk about people that are elected, we've got to be accountable. So I want to be accountable, and everybody should be able to click on the website and see what we've raised, what we've spent it on. And when we do that, like I said, there'll be more donor confidence, and we just keep it moving.
And so would you commit to, whether it's forming some sort of committee that can help, put that data out there, pledge that, there will be transparency right within the Colorado GOP to make sure that people know where every single dollar is coming from, whether it's raised or spent?
Of course, 100%.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
So as we said, we're going to keep trying to do this every week. If you guys have feedback, things we could have done better tonight, or if there's a better night of the week or a better time, send one of us a text. But we're glad that you were here for this first call. As you guys know, my cell phone number is on everything. My email's on everything. So you can always call me, text me at any time, and I'll respond to you. And if you need help, no matter where you're at, if it is something that I can help you with, I will be there. So thank you for all that you guys do on this call, and thank you for being on a Wednesday night.
Darcy, because Steve does have a question, so I want to.
I'm an inquisitive human being. What can I say? I'm a big proponent of tech investments for our party, and I mean, the Dems have always kind of ran circles around us on some of these things. And so, like, a great example, I had one of our Douglas County commissioners reach out to me today and was like, hey, we're trying to fill two positions on the Board of Health, and we'd really like to find Republicans with a medical background, like nurse practitioners and stuff like that, to serve on that. And like I, it frustrates me because I'm like, oh man, this is what a CRM would be great for, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can document. So we would have a ready-made list to go and be like, hey, yep, got two people that have self-identified that they're in the medical career field and things like that. So I was wondering if you could speak to like your vision for tech investments to that not only benefit the state level, but maybe something that the counties can tap into, because obviously, varying counties have varying successes in fundraising, and a good CRM is frankly not cheap. So I was like, that's obviously only one example of tech, but I was wondering if you can maybe speak to your vision for tech investment that would benefit the state and the counties at the same time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that question. So I mean, I definitely agree with it. Sounds like I'm just agreeing with everyone on this call, but I swear I'm not. We're all just very like-minded. This is something that keeps me up at night. And if there are people on this call that want to talk more about data, I could probably talk about it until the sun starts coming up and you will want to kill me. Because as Steve just said, there's so much data that we are missing out on. And we could be compiling, people's professions, all kinds of information that helps us make decisions. And so I'd really like to invest in, I don't know if I would call it a CRM, but something similar to what you see, big sales forces for companies like Hilton or HCA Healthcare have. And I mean, we can afford something like that. We can invest in it so that we can build year after year. You've got to bite the bullet at some point. And the time is now. If we're going to take our state back, we can't continue saying, well, this is too expensive or this is going to take too much time. No, we need to go ahead and do that. And I'll tell you guys a funny story. This is so random, but I was at an office of a friend of mine this week, and he's doing some work on his computers and hired an IT company to come in and do some work. And we got to talking, and I told them what I did and, what I was involved in. And this guy looks at me and he says, well, I did some work for the last administration. And he named the people that he was doing work for and at the state GOP. And he goes, I did a lot of work over 4 years. So he did some work for several people. And he goes, my final job at the state GOP, they called me and they said, Kevin, you got to rip it all down. You got to take down the servers. You got to erase the data. You got to erase the spreadsheets. You got to get it all off the cloud, because we're not in power anymore. There's new people coming in, and this stuff has to go. And I knew that was going. We've all known that that's going on. It's a sick game that it's played with across the state, counties, statewide. That can't happen. And but it happens every cycle. And so what I really want to do is I want to safeguard what we build so that nobody can ever just undo it.
I believe historically we've called that computer fraud, but I don't want to get into that avenue. So,
yeah, another call.
I think it's important to build a massive database of information that is very easy for PCPs to read and understand, because they're really the boots on the ground for our success in our elections.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they had Campaign Sidekick a couple years ago. There was supposed to be Numenar or whatever this year. It didn't seem like that happened. And the lists that the county gets from the state party are not very, it's like, how the heck do I decipher this? So what do you envision that data to look like, and how accessible is that data? And what do you want to get down to the PCP level to be able for them to look at it and say, okay, I know exactly where I need to go.
Well, the data that Numenar provides is actually really good, and I'm just using Numenar because you just mentioned it. It actually was available to candidates. I helped facilitate that, and I thought that the data that was there was really good. I would expand on it a little bit, make it more user friendly. But that's not that costly. Like, it's not that costly to build something like that. We've got people in our party, Trent, that could build something like Numenar, and they have. There's another system, I forget what it's called. Steve's gonna kill me. I think it starts with a V. Voter spectrum. It's all over the place. So look, I'm not going to pretend on this call tonight that I'm going to build the perfect system, and I could tell you right now, row for row, column for column, what it's going to look like. But I can tell you that this is going to be something where the smartest people in our party, as it comes to technology and data, we're going to bring them together, and we're going to talk to all kinds of vendors. We're going to utilize a technology summit. We're going to ask questions and get the best answers, because this is important. This isn't what Darcy wants. I'm good at building offices and identifying problems and solving them, but like I don't build databases. And even if I did, I'm still not the smartest person in the room when it comes to this. So everybody's going to come together, and we're going to build the best possible infrastructure, the best possible system we can.
Important to engage PCPs because they're the ones that are on the ground working with the candidates. And, what I would like to see, because, I'm not going to pick on Weld County to pick on Weld County, but it's been very hard to, as a district captain, to get my PCP's information so that they can go out and help candidates, walk their precincts to promote the candidates, the Republican candidates. And so I would really like to see something that's all the way down to their level, that they don't have to wait on 3 lines of approval to actually be able to get something, which by the time they get approved, it's too late.
Yeah, for sure.
And always, as long as I've been involved in Colorado politics and Weld County politics, we have always been behind on everything, and we're always trying to play catch up. And the biggest thing is I just want PCPs to be like, this party really cares about me, they want me involved, and I'm motivated to get out there and do it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And to motivate them for people to work hard. Again, we just have to keep going back to a company. If this were Walmart, if this were McDonald's, if this were Google, for our people to work as hard as they possibly can, for them to want to show up for Republicans day after day, we have to make it easy for them. We have to give them the tools that they need.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
Got to bring it down to the precinct level and make sure that the second they are precinct leaders, they can click a button and have all the information they need at the click of a button. That's it.
Well, and I think that the tech and the data needs to go a step further in the fact that, look, when you get on the website, you should be able to know who the county chairs are and what counties, their websites, their Facebook pages, being able to have an avenue for somebody that may not know how to get hold of somebody in their county, but they can go to the state website and see, and being able to hand the data over to the next set of folks that run the party, and making sure there's continuity and transparency with that.
Definitely. That's a big part of what we need to be doing. So we need people, and we need a process, a system by which, good people that come in to volunteer in these counties. I want to think about my mom, like my mom, she's a nice lady. She wouldn't, but let's say she volunteered to be chair, right? She could come in and she could do something. She can't build a website. And why should she be expected to? There should be somebody there that says, hey, look, we've got a template ready if you need it. And we're going to feed it into the state system. And the state GOP website is going to have a calendar. and all the counties are going to feed into there. So all across the state at any given time, you know when Chaffey County's Lincoln Day dinner is, you know when Grand Junction City Council meets to pass another tax hike, you know when Durango 9R School Board meets to do their nonsense. We've got to have this all together to make it easy. I mean, we cannot succeed if we don't have the information.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
I'll do this without raising my hand this time. Um, I've always wondered, the state party website is it's a simplistic layout, yet it's effective, right? I'm really surprised that we don't talk to the counties and look at them as kind of a franchise operation where they all have sub pages on the primary state party website that they can maintain and manage as they see fit. But to your point, if they put data entry into a calendar on their sub page, it should auto feed into like a master calendar.
Yeah.
If someone was just visiting the main state party website, like right now, they're really the only county centric information you get are the name of the chair, and you might be lucky if it links to a website or has an email address that you can contact. And that's really the extent. So it's very, very difficult. I mean, I think some counties don't even have websites. So,
more than half.
Imagine the cost savings just to the counties alone.
Yeah.
If they were all just to manage a subpage on cologop.org, .org, and that's a cost savings to them. It's a very simple interface, and there's always continuity. I mean, there's always those counties that it's like, okay, we have our new leadership on board. Who knows how to log into the site? Oh, Frank had that. Frank moved to Florida, and he's not answering our emails anymore.
I've lived through that. It's horrible.
I don't know who Frank is, but that's just an example.
No, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. Irma used to manage our website and she died. And then I don't know whose credit card's in there. I mean, we can't be having that. So no, actually you articulated that a lot better. And that's to have template or not just templates, but to have it an actual, subsidiary of the state website. And then when new leadership comes in, the site doesn't go anywhere. And if somebody's credit card expires or somebody dies or somebody moves, it's not a factor.
Well, I mean, think about how easy it is to remember cologop.org/Arapahoe or /El Paso. It's also an easy site to remember. So people know, all I got to do is put in my county name and I'm going to find that subpage if I can't find it.
That's all. Yeah. That brings up a really valid point. I love that. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? I will say I did realize what happened, and it is my fault for the Zoom link issue. When I was replicating an email, there was an older Zoom link in one of the older emails that when I replicated it and then changed the Zoom link, I didn't fix that. So that is my fault. So
you're super. Thank you so much.
And I will have to buy Olive Garden for Steve.
Well, I've got a comment, and so I've had the pleasure to be on the executive committee and seen things in action. And I guess one of the things that I've become aware of is that our bylaws, you talk about continuity in the computer systems. I think we need continuity in our bylaws for future management. We really see a lot of questions about let's see, on the bylaws it says we'll do an audit. It doesn't spell out when we'll do it, if we'll give it to anybody, doesn't have to be approved or anything. We really need to update that to kind of spell that out. We don't have anything in the bylaws that require that just monthly we send out simple financials to all the central committee members. Pretty easy to do with an email. We don't have anything in the bylaws that spells out that we need a political and financial conflict of interest. Also, we could also incorporate a primary neutrality from state party and federal, excluding presidential, we could have that all incorporated, that it's a requirement. And the other thing is the state executive committee is, by the bylaws, it's only an advisory committee. It has no control. And so they really should be, to have balance, no matter who the chair is, it should be a party that has certain consent rights on salaries and budgets, contracts that involve over a certain amount of money or multi-year. So there's a lot of things like that, that if we cleaned it up in the bylaws,
Yep.
we would have a more ongoing party, no matter who's the chair.
Well, you're hired, Steve. I'm joking.
You start
comment on
again. Do that.
Well, hold on. What was that?
I said I have a comment on that, kind of a related matter. I think that there should be just like attorneys, we have a code of ethics, civility, professionalism, decorum. There are rules and guidelines for how we interact with opposing counsel, with judges, with the court, with the staff. And it's civility and professionalism, and legislators have it. There are legislative guidelines for how a legislator would interact with the staff, with how they conduct themselves. I think that we should incorporate that into bylaws, at least just as a guideline of what's expected of people when they become a bonus member, any part of the leadership of a county party, the state party, right on all the way down to the precinct leader. They're representing the Republican Party. They're representing our brand, how we interact with each other and interact with the public should exemplify who we are, and should be an invitation to other people to join us and not a deterrent. And beyond that, it would just save so much time if people could treat each other with respect and have civil discussions. That would go so far, but that expectation and the bar needs to be set. And if there were a written policy of what was expected, I think that would be fantastic, because this is politics, just like if you were in the legislature, just like if you were a congressman. You just, no matter where you are in the pyramid of politics, we should be conducting ourselves in a way that is becoming to our party and what it stands for.
Thank you. And I definitely agree with you on that. There I am back to agree. But it is in my platform. It is in my document that I put out to explain to people who I am and what I want for the party and how I plan to lead, that we need to be actively working with our young Republicans, working with candidates, and working with precinct leaders to move our party in a professional direction. It doesn't mean we tell them what their values are, how to act. It just means that we provide some guidance, we provide some education, we mentor them, and we just, again, just like a company, people can't be expected to always behave at their best when they don't have clear guidelines. So we've got to lay those out for them. And then, as I said earlier, when they aren't meeting those, we need to bring them in and ask, figure out why, talk to them, figure out what we can bring to the table to fix the situation. And I think it's that simple. It's like I said, it's just like running a company.
Yeah.
So my question off that real quick, I know Steve's raising his hand. I just want to ask you, has there ever been a time that the state has worked with the county to review bylaws to make sure that the county bylaws and the state bylaws, like there's no conflict between the two.
Well, not that I know of. I don't know of a proactive instance, but I mean, there's times when there's differences between the state and county bylaws, but I can't think of any offhand. So no, I mean, that's another issue that we have is kind of trying to get everybody on the same page. You don't see wild differences between the county and state bylaws, if that makes sense. Like you don't see huge variations usually or anything that would cause like a massive problem, but there should be some continuity or more continuity, I would say.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think to that point, I think there's a appendix one within our state party bylaws already has a general framework for the county party bylaws. So like they can literally copy and paste that and then amend it obviously to fit their local needs. So if everyone was doing that, then everyone technically should be in sync to the best of their abilities. But I like Shauna's idea. I think has a lot of merit. We all see without a doubt. I mean, if you're not seeing at least one single social media post that you just look at, you're like, that's internal information. Why are we putting that out into the public sphere? I mean, you're only arming our opposition and Democrats with more information than they need to triangulate their own strategy or create division or whatnot. And I like that idea. I see that in Douglas County, unfortunately, where it's like internal party deliberations and information make it into blog posts that go onto people's websites. And I'm just like that is the antithesis of putting together a professional political organization that has an ultimate goal, and that's to get Republicans elected so that we can actually affect policy under the Golden Dome. Or, God willing, we have a new attorney general or governor that's a Republican that can truly advocate and push the policies that we want through our principles. So I think, Sean, I think that's a really great recommendation. I think that should truly be looked at.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
All right. Well, does anybody else have any other questions? If not, we'll kind of wrap this up.
No, thank you for doing this though.
Yes, thank you. And sorry about the link thing. It's my fault. I'm sitting here and I realized what I did wrong. So you can blame me for that.
So, Darcy, are you firing Trent on the spot just to set an example already?
Please do. Please do. Because it's all you, Steve.
No, he just has to buy everyone breadsticks. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. See, I got everybody all hooked on Olive Garden, Steve. So
Yeah, well, just remember the top chef at Olive Garden is the microwave. So just forewarning. So
all right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. I'll let Darcy kind of close this out and then we'll close off here. So
well, it was an honor to be on this call tonight with all of you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you for giving me your time. As I said earlier, if you have any questions, concerns, you can call me at any time. I'm always around to help you guys. And I look forward to this election. I think you guys can tell I'm definitely ready to lead the next generation of the Colorado GOP with President Trump at the helm. You guys have seen me fight, you've seen me work, and I'm ready to keep doing it. So with your help, we're going to flip Colorado. We're going to turn Colorado red again. So thank you guys.
Perfect. Thank you.
Your website?
Oh, good idea. Darcy, DARCY, for chair.com, Darcy4chair.com. And then you can find me on Facebook really easily. Just start typing Darcy S. I'll come right up. And then Twitter is Darcy and then the number 4 CO. But like I said, if you you could start typing me in Google and like my number will come up, my email address, and I'm always around. So I'm everywhere. Just contact me however you see fit.
We'll do this again next week. The link will be correct this time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.